Before we get into the latest rumors on the Tennessee Titans, our Texans Today host, Jeremy Chuggs, bet me we couldn't get to 200 likes on today's show. Let's prove Chuggs wrong again. Like the video for me right now. We'll talk free agency and trade on today's show, but I want to begin with some news on Tennessee. Namely, Brian Callahan and the Titans have announced several coaching staff changes as they get going down to the Senior Bowl for this one. First up, the coaches who are out. No surprise, Colt Anderson officially fired. Noteworthy that they hired his replacement before they announced the firing, which is unusual and rare. Chris Harris, the cornerbacks coach, has not been extended. He's also the passing game coordinator, by the way. Justin Newton, the tight ends coach, not brought back. Same with Anthony Levine, guys whose contracts were up. They were invited to not return by the Tennessee Titans. Also worth mentioning, Clint McMillan, a defensive assistant, has joined Mike Vrabel in New England. So 4 new coaches are in, and real possibility that more coaches end up getting added in some capacity to this organization. We mentioned Bones Fassel previously, a fantastic hire by Tennessee and Brian Callahan. Luke Stocker has been promoted to the new full-time tight ends coach as the former NFL player takes over that role. Tony Ogden, who was with the Browns, comes over as the new quarterbacks coach / passing game coordinator. And Raina Stewart, the former Cowboys assistant special teams coach, who also played under Jeff Fisher for the Titans, is taking over as the same role he had in Dallas. So overall, seems like mostly positive things, really headlined by the fantastic special teams coordinator hire. Now, before we get into some trade stuff, interesting, I'll call it that, free agency idea floated out there by Bleacher Report. They were going through the top destinations for all the different running backs who were going to hit the open market. And although they said the Browns were the top destination for Nick Chubb, they also listed Tennessee as a potential landing spot for him. They didn't mention the presence of Bill Callahan. I feel like maybe that was presumed on their part. I found this one interesting at best, and I wanted to discuss it. But I want to hear from you guys first and foremost. Would you sign Nick Chubb? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Would you go out and add Nick Chubb to the Titans roster in free agency? The ad comes here on YouTube. Great. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Here was the argument laid out from Bleacher Report. The Titans may want to add more backfield talent next to Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears to help support a young QB, which Tennessee will presumably draft number 1 overall. A short-term prove-it deal in the $4 to $5 million range would make sense. Look, I think the money is mostly right for Nick Chubb, but why am I paying for a third running back? What NFL team is like, yeah, we need 3 guys that can add talent to the guys that we started last year and spent a pretty high draft pick on that. That doesn't really make a lot of sense for me. And, Tony Pollard, once again, coming off a 1,000-yard campaign. He's done it 3 straight years in a row. He's a pretty darn good football player, if we're being honest. The average per carry went up. It even kind of went down a little bit down the stretch this year when he was a little bit nicked up. Wasn't as explosive as the 2022 version when he was averaging over 5 yards per carry. But Pollard is a very good football player. I like him a lot. So I'm already paying one back. And I have a cheap secondary one in Tyjae Spears. Now, look, I will be the first to admit I thought it was going to be a much better campaign out of Spears than what we saw this past season. He averaged just 3.7 yards per carry. He was far better back in 2023 when he averaged 4.5. He was also banged up a lot this year, only played in 12 games. But I look at what Tennessee has in the backfield at running back, and I go, yeah, I don't really consider it a need. I have Pollard and Spears. I'm good there. I can have a third running back be a predominantly special teams guy if I need him to. Nick Chubb ain't playing no special teams. And by the way, coming off the really bad injury, we have to acknowledge this. Nick Chubb was not good last year. Now, it's 8-game sample size. He was incredible on a small sample size in 2023. Has been a perennial 5-yard per carry back. In fact, 2024 was the first time in his career that Nick Chubb didn't average at least 5 yards per carry. But coming off the injury, soon to be 30 years old, hey, that should raise red flags about what his overall long-term future looks like. I don't see Tennessee as a need at the running back spot. If I'm going to spend $4 to $5 million, I'll spend it on a different position. I'll go add defensive line help. I'll spend my money where I need to on the offensive line. I'll upgrade a player tier to get a better option than spending $5 million on a guy that to be a backup running back when I already have 2 ones I like there. That just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time's got a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. It is curation designed to make it easier to find the best price on great seats. Keep an eye out for the super deal. By the way, you'll see it on a variety of different tickets and events. It is the best value for any particular event, whether that's sports, concerts, comedy, theater, anything else in between. Game Time has you covered. So download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today for last-minute tickets, the lowest price, all guaranteed. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. You probably figured at some point we were going to discuss this one. The Jeffrey Simmons trade rumors, hopes and dreams for other fan bases are back. Thanks, frankly, in part, intentionally no, but to Jeffrey Simmons himself. He liked to post about a trade to the Patriots not long after they hired his old head coach, Mike Vrabel, as the new Patriots head coach. He also congratulated the aforementioned McMillan on his job, which, again, isn't like a bad thing. That's things happen sometimes. Simmons has responded to both things on Twitter. The tweet side saying, liking the tweet was not on purpose. Y'all, cool out. It's not that deep. I know where my heart is at. My goal is to retire a Titan back to enjoying the offseason. And then after the congratulations comment that there's been a lot of like Patriot-centric sites that are like, let's get Jeffrey Simmons to New England type of deal there. He says, stop trying to make stories. Guys that I'm congratulating, guys who I spent the majority of my NFL career with, getting a promotion with the Titans or another team is a blessing. Why wouldn't I be happy for them? So of course I'm going to congratulate them. Hashtag Titan up. We'll spend some more time on this, just the overall discussion. But what would you do with Jeffrey Simmons? I know there's some frustration over him to an extent. Would you trade him? Type T. Would you keep him? Type K. Sound off in the comments of today's show. I want to begin by leading with the contract here because the contract is a big thing. He is owed, literally a big thing. He is owed $22.74 million on the salary cap this year. Now, an extension, a restructure would significantly bring that figure down. If you trade him right now or anytime before June 1st, you save $8.34 million. You'd save almost $18 million if you traded him after June 1st. You also then don't get the benefits of the draft pick this year because you can't designate a post-June 1st trade. It's not really how it works. So the savings aren't particularly great. The cut savings aren't great either. Very limited money saved right now. He's got a lot of this base salary guaranteed, at least to an extent guaranteed. And post-June 1st, 11.94. I am at this point. $8 million in savings, and you probably get at least a second-round pick for him. It's also a great defensive tackle class, so then you're saving a little bit of money, spending that draft pick then on the replacement player. I don't want to go down that path. I want more sacks from Simmons, don't get me wrong. I don't like that it's been 4 straight years of that sack production dropping, but this is still a very good, and I would argue great, impactful defensive tackle. He's still young. He didn't miss nearly as much time as he had back in 2023. The Texans defense kind of fell apart down the stretch. I think that was a big factor in it. His tackle numbers went way up. I think Simmons is in for a big year. And I like Devondre Sweat. I need more than just Sweat up front. Sebastian Joseph-Day is a free agent. I got a lot of other guys who are free agents on this roster. So I would simply keep Simmons. Maybe even restructure him so I can spend some more money elsewhere this offseason. Now, we got you covered on all the latest Titans news, rumors, draft, trades, free agency, and everything else in between. If you haven't already, do me a favor. Hit that sub button right now.